What's up, everybody? We're here today in the Overdrive podcast. Let's get it. Today, what do you want to talk about first? We want to start off talking about the World Series. How that's going. How do you feel the games have been so far? Has it been? What do you think so far with Phillies versus
been a very good series,
Houston?
for sure.
Yeah.
I cannot believe the Phillies got here. It's crazy. This has been the year of upsets. 101 Mets out, 111 win Dodgers out, 101 win Braves out, 99 win Yankees out. Outside of the Astros, everyone else we thought would be here is not here and was eliminated pretty early. Phillies, they got made up playoffs by the skin of their teeth. Great move making the manager change back in early June, and they got in the playoff by the skin of their teeth, and they're in the World Series. Who would have thought? And then they're putting up a fight. It's Game 6 is going to be tonight at 8 o'clock. It will be in Houston. Houston wins. They will win the World Series, their first since 2017, which I think is pretty big because the only World Series they won was 2017, like recently. Of course, that has a giant asterisk on it because
of the whole cheating issue. And ever since then, they've kind of been 0-1 in the World Series because I lost to the Braves.
And they've been to the ALCS 6 years in a row. This is like their third or fourth World Series, and they also lost to the Nationals in 2019. So they've been to they've been in the World Series 4 times in the last 6 years. Only one they won, they cheated. I mean, this is still an incredible team. 6 straight ALCSs, 4 World Series appearances in 6 years, 1 win, although it has an asterisk. It is still World Series is a World Series. But if they don't get another ring, I think they're going to look at it as a team like, oh, yeah, it's a great team, but the only ring you won, you had to cheat for.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. It is a great series, though. I think the best game so far has been...
the last game,
The last game was good, but I thought the first game was the best. Especially because that game went to extra innings after that, because Philly came back from a 5-0 lead.
Yeah.
And a potential game-winning hit was caught by Castellanos.
Oh, yeah.
In right field, which is such a clutch play. And then JT Realmuto just drills a home run in the Astrodome to end that game. So I thought it was but you're right, Phillies are putting up a major fight. I'm not sure if they're going to win the World Series. I am 1-0 in World Series predictions, though.
I'm undefeated, never lost.
Because I did pick the Braves last year. No flex. But I do. But if they don't win, no one can doubt that the Phillies had a great year and an excellent playoffs and World Series run.
Yeah, they're on a crazy run. Going back to, say, like, Game 1 was great. Similar in Game 5, late in that game, it was 3-2 Houston, and I forgot who on Philly hit one deep and right there, and Chas in the corner made an incredible leaping catch up against the wall. That was one of the most clutch catches in the World Series I've ever seen. Great play, and that's our World Series segment. We're going to move on to basketball now. So, Kevin, let me ask you, who do you have your eye on so far when it comes to teams so far?
Who would I have eye on? I would say the team that's looking good, obviously, is the Milwaukee Bucks. They're still undefeated, right? They're still undefeated, and, you just got to think about how well they're playing as a cohesive unit. You know what I'm saying? So, that's a team that I'm keeping my eye on. But the most surprising team is the Warriors, where they are in the West right now, really low in the rankings. I feel like, and what I'm seeing in this season is it's a little bit disappointing with the teams that people want to make it, the teams that, that are obviously in the discussions of going to the finals, like the Nets and the Lakers. They're just way bottom. And it's just funny to me, So what do you think, Jake, about that? Like, what team catches your eye in a way? Like besides the teams that are not, that are supposed to go, do what they're supposed to do to get to the playoffs and win the championship.
One team that has blown me away has been the Utah Jazz.
Okay.
Utah, I mean, they trade away their 2 best players, and really the only 2 guys that really matter outside of, you look at last year's team, outside of
Mitchell?
outside of Spider Mitchell and Gobert, Mike Conley's good, but he doesn't scare me. Jordan
Clarkson.
Clarkson's good, he's good, but he doesn't scare me. Outside
No
of that.
stars.
Yeah, there's no one, like you said.
It's like
yeah.
the Toronto Raptors.
Exactly, yeah. And, like, I mean, did they get a lot back from both those guys? Yes. For Gobert, I think Minnesota overpaid. They got back 5 players and 4 first-round picks, or maybe it was the other way around, but they got back, like, 4 or 5 players, got, like, 4 or 5 firsts, and, like, 3 unprotected firsts. They got the big guy they got back, Walker Kessler, first-round pick out of Auburn. I like Malik Beasley, he's a good young player. They got back a lot in that deal, and even for Spider Mitchell, I think they got a pretty good return. You get back Lauri Markkanen, who has been outstanding. He has been one of the most surprising players in the league. He's always been a good player, but
he's very good on the Cavs.
He was
all right on the Bulls. I didn't care for him much on the Bulls, but he was very good on the Cavs.
Yeah, the main problem's been injuries, but he is having a career year so far. You know, you pick up Colin Sexton in that trade. Also, Ochai Agbaji, first-round pick. I like him. He's a little raw, but I think he's got a lot of potential. You get like 3 first-rounders in that deal. They got a pretty good return for Donovan Mitchell. So, and they're playing some good basketball. Colin Sexton is playing good basketball. Like Lauri Markkanen's popping off. They're like 7-3.
Yeah, they're 7-3, and for that, you got to give a lot of credit to Danny Ainge.
Yeah.
For having what you could argue is one of the greatest rebuilds we've ever seen in basketball. Because mostly when teams are going for a rebuild, they usually don't. They're usually quite poor. They're usually tanking, trying to get the good pick. But right now, the Jazz, if they can keep this trajectory, aren't looking to get those picks. And I don't think they go far though. I think they might be a first-round exit. But just
really? You know, like where they are in the rankings?
Yeah, where they are in the rankings. I think they're a first-round exit team.
It's weird because like going into the season, they're really like maybe by the skin of their teeth they got the 9 and the 10 spot in the plans and probably also in the plans. But if they get to the playoffs, that's a major success for the Utah Jazz.
That's what I'm trying to say. It's a major success for them considering that they lost 2 of their best players.
Mm-hmm.
Or both of their best players, because you're right, Mike Conley isn't scary, Jordan Clarkson isn't scary, both good players, but doesn't scare me, especially Mike Conley with his in and out shots. Don't
yeah, but look. Where they are, the way they have improved, I feel like maybe it's a second round exit, more so a second round exit, you know. And I doubt it's a first round exit with teams like that. You know, you can't just go to the well and think with those type of teams, you know, they're gonna be they're gonna go out in the first round easily. No, I think they're gonna give a good fight, and I think they're gonna go in the second round. You know, there's teams like that have went far. You know, and I know what you're saying. They need at least one guy just to take over that people fear and down in crunch time.
Colin Sexton is a great player, though. Some people forget that when he was on the Cavaliers, he was a beast, and he got injured, unfortunately, but he was still a fantastic player.
Oh, yeah. He's a guy, I liked him coming out of college about 2 years ago. He had an outstanding year. He was on his way to probably being a superstar, and last year he got injured, and everyone... And then one, he got injured, and 2, Gary's going on such a great year. People kind of forgot about him. Now he goes to Utah, and he's playing really well. People are like, oh, wait a minute, this guy used to be really good, and he's a great player, still very young.
Yeah, and this is a very young team in general. Maybe Mike Conley, not so much. Maybe Jordan Clarkson, also not as young as he used to be on that 2017 Lakers starting lineup. But this is probably, in my opinion, Utah is in a very similar position in terms of age as the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah.
To where...
But Cavaliers, then again, you did say Utah doesn't have that guy, but Cavaliers have that guy, Donovan Mitchell. And then they got Garland, who's a key player.
I'm just saying in terms of age. I'm saying in terms of age, to where both of them do need that one... It seems like right now both of them do need that one player to take them really far.
That is true.
I think Utah, if you put like a star on this team, I think this team is probably might be a top 5 team in the West.
But they're already top 3.
That's true, but that is true. You never know. Maybe they're even better. I think Cleveland adds one more impact player. I think they're a championship contender.
Because the way they're playing, you got to think about it, Jake. The way they're playing.
They are playing some good basketball.
Think about it, Justin. The way they're playing against good teams already, they're competing. They're competing against Boston. I love that game. 2 days ago, I believe they did well. They did well against Boston.
That was a great game, by the way. Yeah. That was an excellent game.
And even last night's game with Boston and Chicago, You know, the East is the petty conference. Like I said, it's a petty conference. Teams want to beat each other now. Good teams, good caliber teams want to beat each other now to prove, you know, not only to meet it, but to prove that to everyone
It's so
that's
much
watching.
more competitive
Yes.
now. Oh, my
yeah.
God.
It's much more competitive. So because teams want to prove now that they're the top dogs in that conference, and that's why I call it the petty conference. And with the West, on the other hand, you're seeing teams that were the top dogs fall down, and it's a shit show. And when you look at it, and the top team is Trailblazers. They just beat the Suns last night in a really good game. You know, these teams, it's a dogfight between both conferences. It's the dogfight.
I have to ask, because you were talking, real quick, did anyone see that Jeremy Grant buzzer beater? Was that a travel?
That buzzer beater last night.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. I did not see it, but I heard the game was close.
I saw the replay of it. So what happened was he looks like he got an offensive rebound, and he had. So the thing is this: it looked like he didn't have full control of the ball, but basically what it seemed like was it was either an inbound pass or an offensive rebound or something. By the way, it looks like he didn't have full control of the ball, but the ball was in his hands. He was by like the mid range. It looked like he took maybe 2 or 3 shots without dribbling, but once again, it didn't look like the ball was in his control. And then he just launches it up, and it goes in for the buzzer beater. Now I don't know. It's a controversial call. It really is, because I'm not sure if it's a travel, but I can see the argument to say it was. You know what I'm saying here?
Well, no Damian Lillard.
Yeah, with no Lillard. No, Jeremy Grant's a good player.
Very well.
To me, he just seemed like one of those guys who was a great player, but seemed to kind of get thrown under the rug because he was on Detroit.
What do you think, Kenley? You got
It was
the
on
play
an
up.
inbound, yeah.
Got the play up on your phone right now.
He shuffled his feet a little bit, but
Yeah, it was on an inbound pass.
It's tough. These travels is like, all right. It's 3 steps of travel, so
It's something like that. I'm not.
you have to get 3 steps. So it's tough. It's like, did they take a 4th step? Did the ball release before he took the 4th step? Did his foot hit the ground?
Pivot
Those are tough.
with a pivot foot or something.
Yeah.
it looked like he
It's
had
very
backed
strange.
into it. You know what I'm saying? And that's another team you gotta look out for, Trailblazers. But if we go back to the East, you have the Knicks playing pretty well.
Yeah.
You got the Knicks busting their
The
butts.
Knicks are playing good. I'm just not.
Pause.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm sorry, Jake. I'm not scared of the New York
No,
Knicks.
of course not.
I think Jalen Brunson's good.
He's looked good.
He's looked good. I think a lot of their players have looked good. Obi Toppin, I like Obi Toppin.
Toppin's
He's
yeah.
incredibly athletic.
Yes.
Mitchell Robinson quickly.
I think is Obi Toppin a starter?
He is not.
Because he should be. I think he should be a starter. I think the only reason why he's not is because they're paying Julius Randle too much money.
Yeah, they need to get.
I don't think Julius Randle's still that good. I just don't. He's looked.
He's all over the place.
He's all
man.
over the place. Yeah, he's taking these dumb shots. He's a Beyblade. He's spinning around all the time. I think R.J. Barrett needs to step it up a little bit because I am high on R.J. Barrett. I think he's at least. I think this should be his year, considering his way of improving. First year was okay. Second year was still okay, but an improvement. Last year was fantastic. Like, that year was a step up by far. This year, I think he could take it to the next level, or at least he should, based off the way he's improving.
Yeah, the thing with the Knicks, their win. The problem I have with my Knicks right now, their wins haven't impressed me. You beat Detroit, who sucks. Orlando might be the league's worst team. They probably are. Philly, on paper, is a very good team, but first of all, they're struggling, and they didn't have Harden or Embiid.
They lost to the Knicks already.
Yeah, so that win is a decent win, especially when they came back down 10 in the 4th quarter. But, like, is that more so Philly being banged up and kind of blowing it than the Knicks coming back and having a true win? And then, you blew a 23-point lead against Atlanta. You blew a 9-point 4th quarter lead. You got dominated in the 4th quarter against Cleveland. Like Atlanta's a very good team, but 23 points, come on. Cleveland, again, they might be the league's best team right now, but you had 9 points in the
Honestly,
fourth quarter.
I don't know about that. You just said the league's best team right now, Cleveland. I
Right
don't know.
now, when in a couple
When you
months,
look at the
probably not.
standings, it's
Milwaukee,
it's
Cleve-
Milwaukee then
They're
Cleveland.
right now probably a top 5
Cleveland.
team, and that's a good team. That's not
Top
they're a
5
good
team.
team, but still, you blew that game.
Yeah, you're honestly right. But when you look at it right now, Jake, the top 5 teams currently, if you're talking about for each conference, for the East, you have Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee is just overall has more experience. You could say, but not only that, Milwaukee. There's Brooklyn Nets. You have teams that have won championships in the Nets and that particular team, but also Miami. But they are struggling also.
Yeah.
And then, but you also have so it's Milwaukee, Cleveland, Boston. I believe Atlanta, number 4, and then number 5 is Toronto.
Yeah.
Toronto, which a team that
Toronto's a scary team because
without a star, before sorry to cut you off, but there's something important I wanted to make before you had made your point. We currently Pascal's cooking. He's cooking right now.
Great player.
Pascal is probably one of the most underrated, if not the most underrated power forward in the league.
Right now. And with we need him to keep that play for the playoffs. Because if he's not going to perform that in the playoffs, we're more like the Utah Jazz if he doesn't perform like that. Because we know Barnes is going to step up. And we have players that have won championships in that team. Mm-hmm. But if he could step up like that, opposing teams should fear of what the Raptors can do possibly in this postseason. Maybe I'm thinking far too ahead, but
I will say I do think they can give a lot of teams a run for their money. To the Raptors, I think are a scary team and the thing that makes them scary is this: the scariest teams, in my opinion, are the ones that people don't look at.
Yeah.
Says Toronto in general is just not a proper basketball location. It's not like your New York's or your Boston's or your
Philly,
your Phillies, your Los Angeles, your LA's of the world. It's not that. Mostly people would think of Canada being more known for their hockey because
Drake.
And Drake.
Pretty much.
But the Raptors themselves are really, really good. You're right, Pascal Siakam at that front helm who's making excellent plays, great mid-range, good defender, has a good three-point shot, which is necessary for power forwards and centers in the league nowadays. Gary Trent Jr. fit into that team excellently. Fred VanVleet's playing well. OG Anunoby also very good. Yeah. They picked up the reigning rookie of the year, Scotty Barnes.
He's a great player.
He's a great player. I know it was a close race between him and Evan Mobley, but still he pulled it out. At the end, I thought both of them would have deserved it. Mm-hmm. And then they even have some good backups too. Chris Boucher's pretty good.
Boucher, Gary Trent, GTJ.
Yeah, this is the thing with the Raptors is they are very well disciplined and they're good on both sides of the ball. Like they can score and they're good defensively. And Kenley, even though they don't have a star, I don't even think you bring someone in because I think Scotty Barnes in a couple of years could be a superstar. So
I think he's already making an argument for it.
Do you spend all the money on whoever? Do you give it a max contract to somebody else when you might have a guy on your team right now who you might have to wait 2 or 3 years, but Toronto's young. I think they can do that, and they're still out. He's a top 6 team in the East, I think.
And so that's that, but like. We're struggling in certain areas of the game, shooting we could be much better. But I feel like Barnes is stepping up with his 3-point shot. He's improving in all areas. So he's a guy that likes to work and improve. When you look at the teams with the total opposite in that conference, Brooklyn.
Don't even get me started on Brooklyn.
It's much worse than Miami. We can say that.
Yeah, well, the thing is this. Miami is a pain to watch. Miami,
But Brooklyn is
Miami
worse.
gives me some kind of heartburn that you can't imagine. Some of the worst agita you've ever seen. I need to take about 40 Tums just to watch one quarter of the Heat, because if I have to watch Kyle Lowry shoot a basketball and only to have it front rim miserably, I am going to cry. Really, I can't stand it. Duncan Robinson was a waste of $90 million. He's clocking in -4 points on fantasy. -4. How do you do that? How do you clock in -4? Just putting up Tony Snell numbers on the daily. God. But yeah, the Brooklyn Nets. So there's a soap opera called Days of Our Lives. I'm changing that to Days of Our Nets. Because that's what this is. This is a soap opera. The thing that makes the Brooklyn Nets one of the most enjoyable teams to watch, in my opinion, is because it is an absolute, shit show.
It is.
I'm sorry to keep it. I'm sorry. I know we got to keep it a little bit PG. But that's the best way I can describe it.
It is.
Really.
It's a crapshoot.
Really. You have Kevin Durant, who doesn't want to be there. You have Ben Simmons, who's an absolute child. Steve Nash is gone, and you want to bring in Ime Udoka, who's been suspended for 82 games with the Celtics for having a relationship with a staff member. And now you have Kyrie Irving, who not only doesn't want to be there, but is also getting a lot of flack for supporting a anti-Semitic documentary that where a majority of the information in there wasn't even true about Jewish people.
Because he didn't watch the whole thing. He
didn't watch the whole thing, and he didn't.
Stupid human being.
And he didn't do his research. Research. The thing is this with Kyrie Irving. I know I've explained this to you before off camera, but I want to explain it now. Basketball players have 3 jobs, mainly. Play the game, play it great, don't get into trouble. You would say that for all athletes in general. Yeah. Kyrie Irving only does 1.5 of those things. Because he plays great, barely plays, and he's always getting into trouble. This is a man who is running his career into the ground because
he can't stop running his mouth.
Yeah, because he can't stop running his mouth. He just loves to get into trouble.
But let's look at this. I don't totally agree with the comments he said. I don't totally agree with it. Some of the stuff he said, some of the things he said in that press conference is right, but I don't totally agree with it. But at the same time, you see that he knows he's gonna be punished for what he done and I wouldn't say what he promoted, but what he put out there in that tweet. And for him to keep putting out keep creating the fire, keep creating this friction that's going on with this team, it's just, when does it stop, and Kyrie, it looked like he was ready to go as soon as the season started. He was ready to play, but it doesn't seem like it feels like this is a distraction. It's obviously a distraction, but if this continues to be like this, he could be out of the league soon. And it's hurting the team. It's obviously hurting this Nets team, this current Nets team. But not only that, you have Ben Simmons struggling. You even had in that game against the Bucks, Kyrie passes to Ben. Ben doesn't shoot it, and the media starts to make a fuss about it,
as they should.
And they started telling Kyrie, what happened in that certain play? Kyrie just goes off. So from right then and there, I see that it's like Kyrie's already starting to run his mouth. Already starting to be like, has his high horse on, and it's like things like that. The little things right there. He just does not. He's outspoken, obviously, but he just does not know when to stop running that mouth. He has a motor of a mouth, and I just believe this is the Nets, this team is going to get worse. It's going to get worse than when Ime Udoka comes in. I don't really care if you can improve their defense.
It doesn't look like a Bishop Sycamore
they
kind
need
of
to
thing.
make
You
moves.
pick up a coach who's like, who's like a criminal or something. No, he's not a criminal. I mean, that's obviously not a criminal, but he's just
he just has allegations.
Yeah, he just has allegations.
Yeah, this is the thing with that. That's the thing with that. You got Kevin Durant who's always doing stupid stuff. Kyrie's always doing stupid stuff, and now he's completely outdone himself with this absolutely horrific act that he just did. Ben Simmons is always, he's lazy. He's a man child. So let's just bring in another PR disaster.
The Four Horsemen. It's the Cleveland Browns of basketball.
Literally, look. Basketball wise, Ime Udoka is the best option. It's really not a competition. But when you have a PR disaster on your hand, like the Nets already have and have had really since they put this team together, bringing in another guy who just got suspended for a whole season by his own team because he had an inappropriate relationship with a female staff member.
Who we do not know the name of.
We don't even know the name. Like there's something else going on. Like I wouldn't be surprised of someone who's a Celtics fan of Cameron Fred have told me he thinks that like the Celtics might just hand the NBA more stuff after he leaves. Because like this is a PR disaster. Their PR team is doomed.
And you know what? To end this segment, the NBA segment, I'm just going to end it and say that the season is looking out so far. The games are not really that good. There has been some great games to start the season for 2 weeks. Some great games, but to me, it's more so the storyline, and the storyline has been fine. But I want to now go and talk about the NFL and what's going on lately in this past week and what's going to be coming up this week. Predictions, what you guys got for this game, for the games. But let's just start off with the predictions for this week. The storylines, what's going on. Any particular teams you have news on? You have any updates on? You see, after this past trade deadline, we know the Baltimore Ravens just got Roquan Smith. That's a big trade, one of the biggest trades in that deadline. And then, as we know, we had Christian McCaffrey go to the 49ers. He's making a big impact already.
Yep.
The other big trade, I believe, at one point we covered the what's his name? He got traded to the Cardinals. Robbie Anderson.
Yeah.
We covered that. That's a good pickup, but he's a little bit struggling so far with the Cardinals. And then this other big trade that happened, Robert Quinn going to the Eagles. And it's teams are just loading up this past trade deadline. Teams were just loading up. But I'm surprised teams like the Packers, Cowboys, didn't make any. Even the Ravens, for offensive purposes, didn't make any moves in the trade deadline for offensive purposes.
Yeah, I think the Ravens can win. They're playing the Saints on Monday. I think that's good. I think they win that game.
To start off with the prediction, what do you think, Jake?
Yeah, the Saints got too many injuries. Amy Dalton's playing pretty well, but not blowing me away. You know, Michael Thomas is done for the year again.
And at one point in time, he was one of the best receivers.
He broke the catch record a few years ago. Since then, he's scored like 10 games.
It's crazy.
And Juice Landry's out. The guys out on defense. They got too many injuries right now.
So yeah, on offense, offense doesn't look good, but defense could help save them. You know, they could. You know, Tyrann Matthews knows a lot. Yeah. Knows a little bit about Lamar, but in his days with the Chiefs, and I think he could dissect that offense. I really think so, but. What the Ravens got to do is unlock that running game again. See if they could if they can do that, they can set up that play action pass.
Yeah. I actually have 2 flaming hot predictions for the NFL.
What do you got?
The first one's pretty big. The second one's not really that big. This one, I think the Lions beat the Packers.
I think so. Actually, I think so.
Let me tell you why. They lost to the Giants. They lost to the Jets.
Okay.
And back-to-back. And then people will think, oh, okay, so the Jets or Giants are good, which they are looking good this year. Credit to both teams.
But one of the quarterbacks suck.
Yeah, or
both.
But Daniel Jones ain't looking good. Neither is Zach Wilson. Yeah. The success of the Giants has nothing to do with Daniel Jones. But then, so it's like, okay, maybe the Jets and Giants are good, which they are looking better this year, especially considering the tumultuous years they've had previously, so this is a good look. But then they lose to the Commanders. And then the narrative is, well, hold on a second. These teams aren't good. The Commanders aren't good. The Packers are bad. Packers are just straight bad. And obviously, it's not a big deal if they lost to the Bills, because I don't think a lot of teams are beating the Bills this year. They are that good of a team. They're probably the Super Bowl favorite right now. But the but if you're gonna lose to the Commanders, the Jets, and the Giants 3 weeks in a row, I think they're gonna lose to the Lions next.
I mean, the Lions.
That's gonna be fun.
That's gonna be fun. I want to see it.
I want to see it too. The Lions are trash. They are so bad.
It's obvious, but look, think about this, Jake. I think they've been in some certain games, like the Eagles. They've been in that game, and we talk about how the Eagles haven't been playing really good teams yet. With the Lions, they were able to compete with the Eagles. Think about that. They were able to compete with certain teams, but I think they have a shot. I really do think they have a shot. The Goff, does he need more weapons at this point? I don't know. I think receiving core looks.
They do lose Hawkinson, which by the way, that trade made no sense.
That's one of the biggest trades.
Yeah.
That watch out for the Vikings.
Oh yes.
Watch out for with Hawkinson, with Jefferson, with Osborne, with Thielen, with Cook. Oh my.
That's scary.
Yeah,
I mean, Kirk Cousins got to get it done now.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins has to get it done, especially in prime time. But Kevin O'Connell's actually my coach of the year. He's taking that team to new lengths,
it's either
great strides.
him or Dable, probably.
It's him or Dable. Yeah, really. Yeah. All right. So we're running out of time.
Yeah, and to end this podcast, what you guys got Sunday night?
We got that's Kansas City against Tennessee.
I believe so, yeah.
I like what the Titans are doing. That after a social, they have won 5 in a row. Derrick Henry is looking a lot more like Derrick Henry after a bit of a slow start. But Titans probably go back to Ryan Tannehill. He should be healthy. But I'm taking the Chiefs. I think the Bills and Chiefs are just head and shoulders above everybody in the AFC. You know, Tennessee will
100%.
Titans probably come out of the South, but they don't blow me away in the North. Look like it might be Baltimore. They got some injuries. Cincinnati has their issues if they were to come out.
Cincinnati's playing hot right now, but the problem is Jamar Chase being out.
Yeah,
Burrow's not looking the same with that.
Big problem.
But you could say the same for Lamar. He's not looking the same without Rashard Bateman. They need to make key changes so both teams have a chance of winning the North, and then from there, the AFC East. It's not really loaded. I would say Bills have that on lock. So
they do.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the standings. Yes, they're only up by like a game, but like the Jets and Dolphins are not even in the same stratosphere as the Bills.
Not close.
The Dolphins could give the Bills a run for the run.
Miami closer. The Jets. I'm a Jets
maybe
fan,
my Pats could do something about it.
As is Justin. I think all 4 of them have a shot. Like Jets, Dolphins, and Pats could all maybe get a wild card, but especially Miami. But she actually pick up Bradley Chubb. But Jets and Patriots are gonna be a little tougher.
Yeah,
100%.
The Bears getting Chase Claypool.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't love that move. I mean, I think the Bears overpaid. I think Claypool. First of all, he's a clown.
The TikTok duo is gone.
Yeah,
the TikTok duo is with him and
Juju.
Yeah, and so he's a solid second or third receiver. I'm not very high on him. He's a clown, complete idiot. He's a stupid person. He's okay, but not worth a second round pick. You know what? Good job, Fields, getting rid of him. Bears. That's the best you can do for Justin Fields. That's pretty embarrassing.
Yeah. As for your prediction, I think if there's anyone who can make Kadarius Toney look like a superstar, it's Patrick Mahomes. I'm taking the Chiefs.
I am as well.
I'm gonna go Tennessee Titans.
Interesting.
No, I think it could be anyone's game.
I think it'll be a close game.
I just don't trust Tannehill. That's my thing. I just don't trust Tannehill. Nor do I trust Malik Willis.
I think Malik Willis. If it continues,
yeah, but not Patrick Mahomes. Good, he's good, but not Patrick Mahomes.
He's not there. He's out. Yeah, he just started. Yeah, he's obviously not there. So, that's it, guys. With the overdrive. Thanks for watching, and we'll get back at it with the next episode. And toodles.
See you later, guys.